Good morning, everyone. Today I'm joined by Professor Kathy Olesko. And Professor Olesko is currently serving as chair of the main campus executive faculty. So Kathy, thank you for taking the time to be with us for this conversation. And since 2019, you have served as the chair of our main campus executive faculty, which, for those who aren't familiar, is the faculty governance body advisory to our provost on the main campus. Can you share a little bit more about the role of that group and the responsibilities that you have as chair?
So MCEF works, as it's known, works with the Office of the Provost and the Council of Deans to determine, create, and implement academic policy on the main campus. And academic policy is anything that concerns instruction or our lives as faculty members in teaching, research, and in service. MCEF, though, only concerns itself with cross-school issues that affect all the schools on the main campus. And among the chair's responsibilities, probably the most important, as you can imagine, is leadership. Identifying issues that need to be handled, leading the group in the right direction, and leading with grace and measure as best as I possibly can. And the chair represents the faculty to the administration, especially the provost's office and the deans, to make sure that the faculty always has a voice determining things that affect it. The importance of the position is underscored by the MCEF Constitution, which mandates that the chair is an ex officio member of the Council of Deans, a role that's approved by the university's board of directors.
Now, Georgetown has a deep commitment to shared governance, which recognizes the roles and responsibilities of the faculty in our community. Can you speak a little bit about faculty governance, why it's so important, and how does it help to strengthen our community?
So, shared governance is an important principle at Georgetown. It aligns the administration and the faculty on matters of common concern. So where faculty determine and create policy, the administration implements it. There's also some matters where that the faculty should not handle. So in legal matters, say the termination of a contract, or where there's a conflict of interest, the administration has an important role. Faculty governance strengthens our community by providing a venue for those voices, but it also preserves the autonomy of faculty that's crucial to carrying out their professional roles as scholars and teachers, including in shaping the curriculum and the framework of their professional lives on campus. One might say that academic freedom and faculty governance are really two sides of the same coin. And if we're committed to a community devoted to excellence, then providing the conditions for the expression of faculty voices is absolutely essential.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, talk a little bit about how the COVID-19 pandemic and our transition to virtual learning has impacted faculty governance.
Greatly. One thing about faculty governance during a crisis is that it has to be nimble. Faculty governance has met almost continuously since mid-March. We had almost an entire semester of meetings over the summer, which is not when we usually meet. And this was without complaint from the group. There's over 70 people in the main campus executive faculty. And behind the scenes, the steering committee had so much work to do on very, very short notice. We were meeting at night. We were meeting in the early hours of the morning. I am so grateful for all of their efforts on our behalf. It's really been an honor to work with all of them. We had to make decisions quickly, but we had to make it with consensus. And that's very, very stressful, but we made it. And two prominent examples that I like to talk about are when the administration asked for faculty input on how and when teaching should resume in the fall, there was a cacophony of voices at the first meeting on July 1st with absolutely no resolution. But a decision had to be made. And I called a meeting for the next day, 24 hours later, on July 2nd, and notified the steering committee that we would be meeting very early in the morning. We crafted a statement of principles and a list of guardrails for decision-making in the fall. The statement was approved. Now, even though the university had to change its plans from bringing 2,000 students first, was their decision, and then deciding we would go entirely online, The faculty were involved in that decision-making process, and that was extremely important. Second, in the pivot to online learning, we needed a new teaching evaluation, not only to accommodate the different modality in teaching, but also one that had to address a co-crisis, racial tensions in the United States. So with the cooperation of Candles and the Registrar's Office, we quickly formed a committee that completed its work in record time, that took into account the results of the Presidential Task Force on Gender Equity, which found significant bias in certain forms of teaching evaluations, and it also took into account issues concerning diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm really, really proud of the committee's work. The co-chairs were Daniela Brancaforte of the McDonough School of Business and Blythe Shepard at the School of Nursing and Health Science. So they did an absolutely terrific job.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there other impacts to faculty governance or teaching or other aspects of university life that you did not expect as we entered into this virtual learning environment?
Yes, and two are particularly important to me. Thanks to a meeting by the Office of Student Affairs that brought together faculty governance and student governance. Faculty governance in this case were the Senate officers, the MCEF officers, and the MCF steering committee. We now have monthly meetings of representatives of student governance and faculty governance. We feel it's absolutely essential for us to keep channels of communication between these governance groups open during these challenging times. A second really unexpected, very unexpected development was the MCF Forum on Instructional Continuity, which is now called MCF Candles Forum on Instructional Continuity. Immediately when we went online in March, Julia Lamb of the theology department asked me if we could have an informal forum on Friday afternoons, sort of a happy hour where we get together and exchange ideas for what we're doing, because we were thrown into this environment, not knowing what we were going to do for the entire semester, that is in terms of teaching. That forum became immensely popular as a venue for sharing ideas, for hearing from Candles about new technologies, and most importantly, for preserving community. We met nearly every week throughout the semester, and we're still meeting every 2 weeks to discuss pedagogical matters, to chat, and sometimes we even bring along a glass of wine. One of my colleagues called the forum an accidental home run, which I think is a compliment. It's been incredibly enjoyable and popular, and I just love my colleagues for coming every week.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Are there other aspects that you've found surprising in a positive way? What might we take away from this moment that we would want to continue with when we're all back together here on campus?
So I think the positive aspect is that because faculty governance is cross-school and cross-camp, in some cases it's cross-campus, but it's cross-school. The role of faculty governance in sustaining community is extremely important. Perhaps that could have been achieved only through the formal meetings that we had, 2 or 3 a week throughout the summer. But the informal forums that I just mentioned enhanced communities in ways that were unexpected. I'd like to explain. The last forum went August 14th, and the title of that forum was Remembering the Classroom When It's Not There. After all, we were beginning a semester when none of us were going to be entering a traditional classroom. That forum was inspired by a Facebook post by Ricardo Ortez, chair of the English department. And in the post, Ricardo posted a photo of one of his Community Scholars Program classes and explained what they were doing as a way of expressing his grief over not returning to the classroom. And he wrote in that post, "I'm never more myself than I am in the classroom." I invited Ricardo and 4 other faculty members to reflect upon the loss of the classroom in the fall. Their comments were incredibly touching, incredibly poignant, and very, very moving. Julia Lamb, who had suggested the forum to begin with, was appropriately the last speaker at the last forum for the summer. And in a beautiful lyrical statement, she explained how the classroom was not only about the present, but about experiences that span generations of students who often send their own children back to the same classroom with the same teacher. And Ricardo was right. We faculty define ourselves through and in the classroom. It is such an incredible loss to us not to be there this semester. We're so eager to return to our home base. So the takeaway for our community is always to remember that the classroom is a sacred space.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your leadership. Thank you for all that you do for our university community. In closing, is there one last word you'd like to leave with our community as at the start of this new semester?
Absolutely. Faculty governance is always important, but it's critically important in a time of crisis when there's a need to find the best solution to a problem and to have faculty buy-in when difficult, unprecedented decisions have to be made extremely quickly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wish to express my gratitude to Professor Kathy Olesko for sharing her insights with us today, for her work and dedication, especially this past summer as we prepared for this fall term. So on behalf of all of us, Kathy, thank you for your leadership. And I look forward to being with all of you again soon. Take care of yourselves and take care of everyone around you for every Hoya, everywhere.